All right, ladies, this week we are going to be talking about hormonal body types. So, as you can see here on your screen, I wanted to share a little bit with about hormonal body types. Now, I have shared this before. There was a checklist to find out which one are you, which one of these body types are you. So, I'm going to see if I can open this up just a little bit. And basically, there are four body types, and we're going to fall under either this is more of the adrenal body type, this is the ovarian body type, this is the thyroid, and this one here is the liver body type. So you can see there's about four of them. And what I wanted to just kind of bring to your attention, hormones are the language of the communication. So for some reason you're not losing weight, it really comes down to hormones. So you can do keto, you can do paleo, you can do intermittent fasting, you can do vegetarian, you can do a lot of these weight loss programs, but sometimes they will not work. And the reason they're not going to work is because for you to lose weight, you really have to have your hormones in balance. And if your hormones are not balanced, your body is going to hold on to that weight and it's not going to release it because it's a protective mechanism. And it'll distribute it to different parts of the body, and there's going to be different patterns depending on which system needs to be healed. So I wanted to just show you a little bit about that. So you can see the four as I talked about here. There are four body types, shapes and types, and they're influenced by hormones. And counting calories to lose fat is not the goal, but it's more to stimulate your fat-burning hormones to lose fat. That's what it is. And there are more fat-burning hormones than there are fat-making hormones. So we're not going to talk about all the fat-burning hormones. More, we're going to talk more about the fat-making hormones and what do we need to do so that we're not stimulating those. We stop those. Of course, insulin is one, which has to do with sugar. That's going to stimulate fat. So insulin has everything to do with stress, physical, chemical, emotional stress, that's cortisol, but insulin's the cousin to that. Insulin is for the purpose of moving glucose, sugar out of the bloodstream into the cell so that it could be utilized in energy. The beautiful thing I really like about keto is that when you are doing the ketogenic diet, you're not getting a lot of insulin surges, which is so cool from at least food. However, cortisol here is the anti-stressor hormone. So anytime there's any type of stress, physical, chemical, emotional, cortisol is going to go up. And unfortunately, the sister hormone insulin is going to go up with it. So these will actually prevent you from losing weight. Another one is estrogen. Now, women, we have more estrogen, but guys, we're seeing even guys have more estrogens. You can see the guys that have the moobs. You can see guys that have kind of feminine qualities. And that's because they have too much estrogen. And like, where the heck is all that coming from? Well, we're going to cover a little bit about all that. So some of the fat-burning hormones are growth hormone, adrenaline, thyroid hormone, glucagon, leptin, insulin-like growth factor. So those are some of the major fat-burning hormones. I can go on and on, but just wanted to just explain that to you. So the wrong kind of exercise will prevent you from fat burning and cause you to gain weight. How does it do that? Well, we talked about these four these three fat-making hormones. What happens is when you're doing the right type of exercise, like I said, you got to figure out what body type, hormonal body type you are. If you're the adrenal type that you're tired and you're irritable, and we're going to go over, like I mentioned, the body types, you don't want to be doing high intensity exercise and going at it for a whole hour. Those are the CrossFitters. Those are the people that are out just working out like a fiend, and they're like counting calories, but they get frustrated because nothing is happening. They're like, I've been working out for 5 to 6 weeks and I've been working out like crazy. And some of the people will have their their diet dialed in and others won't. And they're like, I'm not losing any weight. What the heck is going on? That's the person that they're doing the wrong exercise. Okay. They're usually tired and they're forcing themselves to exercise. I'm like, that's not what you need to do. Right now, you need to relax. You need to rest. You need to do more like walking, like swimming, whatever's going to heal and nourish your body. That's what you need to do, because if you're stimulating cortisol, you're also going to stimulate insulin. When there's insulin spikes, you're not going to burn fat. It's going to be really hard. So that's why the incorrect exercise can do that. Sleep is going to be vital, and we're going to be covering that in another video, another audio. Why sleep is important, because during sleep, that's when your body's burning fat, and that's when healing is occurring. And you've got to have your sleep dialed in. If you're only getting like 4 or 5 or even 6 hours sleep, and you're like, but that's what I function well at. You're not going to handle that. Right now, I deal with a lot of patients that they've been sleep deprived for years. And it could be from quality of sleep. It could be that they're just saying, I get by on 3 hours sleep, I get on 4 hours sleep. The body's going to crash after a while. It might handle that for a few years, but eventually it'll crash and burn. And it's going to take sometimes just as long to get their hormones balanced, just as long as it did to get them in that place. So I could, let's just say they come to you and, let's say they come to me and they're like, I've been functioning off of 3 to 4 hours sleep, 5 hours sleep for the last 5 years. Well, I honestly like to tell them that, you know what, then it may take you 5 years to get your body balanced. And the first year you might see 25% improvement. The second year you might be up to 50% improvement. The third year you may only be to 60, and slowly, because we have to think it took time to destroy our body. It's not going to happen overnight. And we're just so conditioned that the weight loss, the healing, doing all the liposuction, doing just all these crazy, crazy stuff that we're doing to get skinny fast, to get healthy fast. It's not going to work. It's just very frustrating, because there's a lot of money that's made in that. And I just don't agree with that. It's more about their lifestyle changes. That's why we're talking about hormones. So we're going to look at why sleep is important. Environmental chemical factors will disrupt and mimic your hormones. You get what's called these xenoestrogens, and they will affect how healthy or unhealthy you are, and they will stimulate weight gain. So we're looking at some of these chemicals from bottles, plastic bottles, what's in your beauty products, your cleaning products, what's at home. Other chemicals can even be like molds and toxins, what's in your mouth, the amalgams in your mouth. So what are you putting on your skin? Those can all mimic estrogen. And we talked about how estrogen is a hormone that will stimulate weight gain. It's more than one of the weight fat making hormones. So these are a few things here. So what we want to do is we want to get you healthy before you can lose fat. And some of you will lose water and some of you will not. So don't be frustrated, because once again, it just means your body's not healthy. It's not ready to release the weight. It could be stuck at that point because it's protecting itself. So there's foods and exercise that can trigger fat burning hormones. And of course, we'll talk about those. Stress will affect your hormonal balance because of cortisol. And when cortisol goes up, insulin goes up. When insulin is high, then it's hard to get into ketosis, and it's hard to use fat as your fuel. So that's why I love the ketogenic diet so much, and the lifestyle, because it trains your body to get into ketosis and use ketones as the alternative fuel source. The other one, as you can see here, is I put growth hormones, pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals. They disrupt your endocrine system. Recreational drugs and medications of all kinds. They have side effects and on the glands, especially the liver. your liver is your hub for fat burning hormones to be stimulated. So that's why in this program, I said, we have to have liver support. You've got to have liver support so that the gallbladder's working properly, so that phase 1, phase 2 detox pathways are open for the liver, and you got to heal the liver. So it's really, really important. So if you're not losing weight, then, and even if you are taking some support for the liver, then there's a deeper connection, and there's something that we have to look at deeper, why you may not be releasing the weight. The other thing, what's awesome about this is eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables because they have anti-carcinogenic properties, anti-estrogen, and anti-endocrine disruptors. So those are awesome. So it's really the type of food, not so much the calories, that's going to determine whether you're going to lose water weight or burn fat. And in the beginning, I did have you track your calories. I did have you track your food. It wasn't for the purpose of knowing how, well, yes and no. It was for the purpose for you to get familiar with the size of portion size, to get familiar with what is a food make, what does it make you feel like, or how does it make you feel? What are the grams of protein, just to get an idea, because after a while you're going to know intuitively. It's like, hey, I know that fish has approximately 20 grams of protein. My body does well at 80 or 100 grams of protein. So that means that I will have, I can have fish, and then I can have maybe a big piece of bison, which, depending on the size, can have between 30 and 50 grams of protein. So that's why it's important. And, we had you track that just for your own purposes. Okay. The other thing here is what I wanted to show you was, it takes weeks, 3 to 8 weeks to heal the endocrine system. Therefore, most people don't burn fat till after 3 to 8 weeks. So you've got to heal the endocrine system and have hormone balance before you start burning fat, not just lose water weight. So this is one of the cool things that you get to see here. Here I have, as you can see the picture here in the cycle. It's like your blood sugar level goes up and down, and you crave sugar, and then goes up, you feel good, and you need a nap, and then you start craving sugar. And so this is what happens in the morning. It's like you're eating carbs, and it's just going to make things worse. So you don't want to do that. So you end up with blood sugar really contributes to anxiety, depression. You're very irritable. You've got mood swings, and that's where the hangry comes and the sugar cravings. So one of the things is you don't want to skip your meals until you get fat adapted. Like I said, that's why I love keto, because once you get fat adapted, it's awesome. Other thing, overeating will trigger high sugar levels and insulin response. So protein, there's a lot of misconceptions with protein. And once again, you've got to figure out what works for you, because your body's chemistry is different. And for me to tell you how much protein to eat, how much protein you always need to eat, it's wrong, because you've got to figure out what your body needs. Your physiology is very different. There's not enough studies where there's a lot of controls, especially when it comes to the foods that we eat, because one, there's not a lot of, there's nothing to sell there. There's not something to sell by doing research and an experiment on having certain amount of people eating a certain way and actually controlling them for 10 years. It's almost impossible to do a test like that and any research on that on a controlled study, because it's just impossible. How is a person going to have a real job and be under some sort of observation for 10 years and say, okay, this is what you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner? It's just really hard to do a controlled study on that. So that's why you have to figure out what works best for you. So when it comes to releasing weight, a lot of the times this is what we see. In the beginning, we sometimes just see weight loss or fluid loss. Sometimes we don't even see anything. And then the body goes through a healing phase. So that could take 2 to 6, sometimes even up to 8 weeks, where the body is healing. And a lot happens. You're not necessarily losing weight, but you have better energy. You have your mood is so much better. You just feel like you're doing something healthy for your body, and just your overall. You just feel good overall. That's when that fat burning starts and the fat loss starts to happen. And like I said, for some, I've had people that it took them 6 months, 12 months and they had to heal their body before they got into the weight loss. But it took a lot of investigation. We had to do a lot of different testing to figure out what was holding them back. Some, it was heavy metal toxicity. Some, they had leaky gut. Others weren't aware that they were getting estrogen from some of their beauty products, so they were estrogen dominance. There were just so many different things, and like I said, everybody is different, and that's where the personalization custom care comes with working with a functional medicine practitioner. So the point is, you got to get healthy, then you lose the weight. So you're going to monitor the effects of health, not weight loss. So some of the things I mentioned, the feedback you're going to get, you have more energy, you have less cravings, you're sleeping better, you have better mood, your skin looks even better, and you even will have some inches lost. So once again, hormones is what we need to look at to trigger a healthy weight loss, and hormones are going to tell us whether your body is healthy or not, and whether and how it's communicating with the rest of the body. So just want to make sure that you understand that, and don't get discouraged if you're not losing weight, because once you get the hormones dialed in, that's where the magic happens. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you, and I will share in a different video and audio the different body types, so you can get familiar with all that. All right, so I will catch you on the next video.